faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different, even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body, because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning to you all who have chosen to wake up with us this day, the 6th day of the beautiful month of January. Now, yesterday someone made a very bad, I don't know, bad or good joke when they say that January has 60 days. Probably my colleagues will tell me what that they meant. But nevertheless, we're here to give it back onto you and, of course, to make again, repress and of course bring to you what we did commit to do at the beginning of the year. Definitely that will bring to you the best in terms of current affairs, what's happening here at home and internationally. Now, of course, we do touch base with weather. We also touch base with transport, where we do help you get your way into town. But we also bring into discourse matters of national importance through our discussions in our newsreel and definitely later on in our GMU agenda. Now, we also crown it all with sports, but also not forgetting to remind our viewers, AFCON is just around the corner. Actually, we just peeping. We are in, I don't know, I'll ask Mollen in particular, what countries surround neighbor Cameroon. I don't know if our geography, but I hope she's preparing for that. But anyway, so we'll be having AFCON here on UBC, and clearly we want you guys to stay glued to your TVs. And we're having more analyses into who do you expect to see, who shall we miss for this AFCON, and of course the expectations of who will win. Very much of those discussions are what we'll be having in Good Morning Uganda today. But I'll start with Mollen, and I'll say good morning, Mollen.
Yes, a very good morning to you, Felix, and good morning to all our lovely viewers. When we talk about AFCON this morning, I think we have the big players. You know, we focus on Cameroon, Egypt, but I saw the excitement on the guys that are making a debut in AFCON, and mostly from Gambia. These guys have dreamt of being in AFCON for a while, and if you see their excitement, even for these 3 days, I think they just can't sleep right now. They're waiting for it, and that is the excitement that my focus is on. But obviously, UBC is here to give you that sport, all the updates from AFCON. So this is the one place you'll have to, focus your attention. But again, you look at the fact that we do have some of the players that are coming from the Premier League, and we saw Mane and Salah already here, for the AFCON, but also that is creating gaps there in most of the games that were still supposed to be played. I saw the Liverpool game being postponed because there are a lot of COVID infections, but also I think it also they are considering also the gaps that are already created by the guys that are going away. So I don't know, it's still a challenge there.
Absolutely. But Mollen is trying to dodge my question. I don't know, I think I'll get back to her about the countries that neighbor Cameroon, and I may even put my stake high to put money onto every country she mentions. And for Uncle Bob, I'll ask him to just name for me 7 states in the United States of America. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Felix, and of course, good morning, our lovely viewers. It is still another day, and we are here to ensure that you're well versed with what is happening. Now, Felix is a teacher, and of course,
his teacher, really, Robert?
His teaching instincts never cease, but problem comes his way if he has not yet been vaccinated, because then he may not be able to access the other side.
I have been teaching already.
You've been teaching already,
yeah.
But so you could have survived. You could have survived, but now here comes the time that if you're not vaccinated, you're not going to allow to enter the classroom. And in case you spend 2 weeks without teaching, then you're going to face the disciplinary committee, because you'll be considered to have absconded that is from duty. And if they find that the reasons are not valid, then you automatically have to lose your job. So teacher, with your teaching instincts, first have that at the back of your mind, because that is one of the things that is very, very interesting, my dear. But anyway, there is so much that we are here to give you and ensure that we kickstart your morning with relevant information. That is what we do every day, kickstarting your morning with relevant information, but also spicing up your morning with some light moments here and there as we carry on with the program, not forgetting that there is so much we have for you today.
So clearly Robert doesn't know 7 states of USA, and he's trying to jerry meander behind vaccination and teachers, which is a good thing.
It's
Robert,
in Uganda, he will mention, United States of Kabuli, United States of, he
it is also allowed not to know, by the way.
I'm not giving him opportunity to have his lesson plan on me.
Okay, so Robert,
so
we
you
can
want
name
him
them.
to actually do the work, not get the answers from you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll go to Mollen. And you know the
good
countries?
Sorry?
Do you know the countries that border?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You look at countries like Nigeria, I think to the west side, then we have Congo, we have Gabon, Equatorial Guinea. I could mention all of them across that area, all that Western Africa.
So you're simply stampeding on any country which
No,
may follow.
this specifically border Cameroon, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, look at, Sudan, and then Nigeria to the other side. But, West Africa as a whole. Those guys
West Africa as a whole borders Cameroon. Anyway, so those are the kind of people
Take my answers clearly. Those are very good answers. I don't know whether you could mention,
now you see what
if I
teachers
say all
go
the countries
through.
in Africa right
At
now,
the end of the day,
Felix,
it comes back to what
I know
teachers
you
go
would be
through.
struggling. So for me
No.
to get these 4 countries just offered right now, it should be appreciated.
Actually, more reason why government should increase salary of teachers. You know what we go through. We have students like Alcobo, but students like Mollen. So
does that mean
there are students you ask what is this, and it starts, do you know?
Yeah.
Now,
And have you seen the students who the teachers are going to be dealing with this stuff?
absolutely.
People are grown up. There's a video going around of how, you look at the teachers almost the same age as the students, and now you're just looking at this
Of course
person
they can't be the same age,
asking
but-
you, okay, what are you talking about? What are you teaching
Very
me?
interesting. Why Felix, of course, school is reopening, and of course she has to ensure it brings back the plight of teachers and what they are going through. I love the fact when he says reasons why teachers should get more money. I think
Absolutely.
If there was a time where teachers had to get a salary increment, it's going to be this time, because they're going to have very, very different students from those that left. Just imagine you're going to have a mother seated in the class, and this time it may not only be one mother or 2 or 3. Second, you're going to have students that had never made money. Some could even be earning better. The jobs they have been doing over this period of 2 years, and now they're earning better. So they are coming back to you. You're going to have students who are fathers. So, they have responsibility. But also, even the teachers themselves, many have been out of teaching for about 2 years. They are coming with divided minds. Some have been having other jobs. So now they are thinking, at what time should I stop to go and catch up?
No, but here's the thing.
So it's very complicated.
I think for me, as a person who is from the academia, I know for a fact that education or teaching is a career-based approach to life. It may have breaks, challenges, but it always continues. In fact, for some of people who think they can leave teaching for any other thing, I think that's being short-sighted. That's being very short-sighted. This is a long-term thing. Before you know, and as the saying is that a karamu terimba, you never go wrong with your education. So because people don't have jobs, you don't say I won't study. Because of the growth of unemployment or what, you don't say you won't study. It's your only security.
That has proved otherwise in this course of
Even
COVID-19.
Who told you the world is going to be about profit?
Even before that,
How many?
Kalam tell him, but have you seen how teachers have been struggling if it wasn't for
Let me
their
ask you.
initiative to actually take on other
Let me
jobs?
just ask you a
These guys
question,
would have
Mollen
been
and
in
Robert.
a state of,
Who has not suffered?
worrying state, I'm telling
Okay,
you.
okay, the uneducated have not suffered.
No, everyone has.
Do you mean
I
to
would
say?
say everyone has suffered,
No,
but
everyone has,
levels
but
of
for
vulnerability.
you to think that,
I
you
think
know,
that
being in a
profession.
teaching profession,
No,
then
no.
you have to be there, it's a career thing, you're being short-sighted. No, these guys have actually opened up their minds now. They're looking at scenarios where now they can do something.
Let me tell you
else,
what's been happening,
you know,
Mollen.
that has helped them earn
Teachers
and survive.
have been teaching, and I can tell you personally, have been teaching our children from home, and the least paid teacher every day has been taking 20,000
Which is not enough.
every day.
Which is not enough, because these are some guys still crying.
But we are talking about
No,
even
Mollen,
complaining
but
about the
Mollen,
100K that has been
when
promised to
Felix
them.
talks
This is small
about
for
when
them.
Felix talks about a teacher who has been getting 20,000 a day, he's looking at the urban and city dwellers.
Yeah.
You cannot
Exactly.
tell me a teacher
How
in
about the
Kabong,
teachers? Exactly.
a teacher in Kasoga Kakuto has been getting 20,000 a day. Even parents there have not had any interest to take their children
You
because
don't know that,
equally,
Robert.
some of them.
You don't know that.
I come from a
But
community,
also-
and
When you
Yeah.
come from
Even
Kakuto,
here-
you come from Machi, why do you imagine?
even in Machinje, this is a town, a city, and there are many children in Nabisaru, Nkere zone where their parents cannot even afford a meal.
yeah, I don't come
And,
from Nkere.
and you're talking
I was-
about that. So, looking at a bigger scope, we must understand that
So,
yes.
just lastly,
fairly
Robert,
speaking,
would you would support teachers to leave their career of teaching for those petty jobs? You think? Do
I
you think
wouldn't.
they're sustainable?
I wouldn't
Do you
sup-
think riding a boda against being a teacher is more sustainable than being a teacher?
Definitely not.
And that's what I'm saying. It is short sight for us to encourage teachers to stay in those are called incidental, like cover-ups.
No, you're just assuming
But
there are
Felix,
those that
we're
have
not
gotten
saying-
something permanent and better off
That's
We are
than
not
the
okay.
saying
teaching
that these
profession.
guys should leave their career. We are saying that it's okay for you to love your career as a teacher, but it is also okay for you to think outside the box. You're not going to live
What's
your
the
life.
use of loving the
based.
career?
I mean, be a teacher, but be able to do other stuff. That is why right now they're crying. Because
Actually,
if you have had
Mollen,
to ride that border
even before COVID,
and you still can't do that,
Even before
because
COVID,
guess what? They don't teach like, you know, all the time. So they will still
just
get
let me
time
give you an
off to do
even
their
before
side
COVID,
businesses.
we've had teachers quit the profession for greener pastures. Many teachers
which is
with
allowed.
ambition. A person
It is
will tell you,
allowed.
I'm a teacher by
You
profession,
can have it
but now
all.
I'm doing
You can
this,
have
I'm
both
doing
these
that.
things going for you.
Okay, clearly our teachers out there, we love you so much and we are glad that now you're back at work. We pray that things get well for you. We know that you've been the beacons of this society and the backbones. Because I remember I was hustling with someone's homework yesterday and I got angry like every after 1 minute. Every after 1 minute I would get angry because everything I was telling them they were doing. So, and this is when I realized the power of. So, we pray for you and we know that now that you're back and up and running, please get vaccinated. Please get vaccinated so you can have your ways of life back to normality. But of course, on top of that, we'll be discussing a couple of other stories and probably just to give you a glimpse on what you expect this morning, Robert will be hosting someone in the GMU agenda. That would be?
The political commissar, Uganda Police Force, Hassan Kasinje, will be with us this morning, and we'll be discussing issues of security and of course how best we can fight where we've seen a lot of civil disobedience in the previous years. How best can we ensure that people do not resort to such incidents every time there's any challenging situation?
Absolutely. Before that, Mollen will be hitting us up with what's happening in nature and of course environment and you know, the world of climate and all those things. I don't know, any expectations for us to look up to?
Well, when we talk about weather and climate, we also have to include climate change recently, and this has been a huge interruption to our seasons. Now, as we kick off the dry season, we want to take a look into the advisories that have been given out by different authorities and also the East Africa Prediction Center on what to expect during the coming 2 months.
Well, of course, for our newsreel yesterday, the Minister of Works and in particular General Katumba Amala came out to give a couple of guidelines on how the modus operandi shall be as the reopening is expected in terms of vaccination, transportation, and of course a bit of curfew there we'll be delving into that discussion, but of course looking at the larger aspect of the vaccination that is being caused to be mandatory. What is in for us? What can we do? I mean, what are the dangers, the risks, and of course the advantages in this approach to life? But before that, let us take you through what's in the pay, what's been trending in terms of news that is from last night, and of course we'll look at locally and internationally.
We will kickstart it off with temporary lifting of curfew to allow smooth reporting back of students to the various education institutions in this country, where curfew in Uganda will next week be temporarily lifted as learners across the country report to schools as government prepares for the scheduled reopening of secondary, primary and pre-primary classes starting Monday the 10th of January. The new development was announced by the Works and Transport Minister, General Edward Katumba Wamala, as part of the detailed plan to facilitate safe reopening of the transport and education sectors of the economy as per the directive issued by the President, that is Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, in his New Year's message to the country on the 31st of December 2021.
Well, more clarity on the NSSF bill. Now, the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Betty Amongi, says money is readily available for NSSF to implement the newly signed act that allows savers to withdraw 20% savings once they clock 45 years of age. Now, according to the NSSF data, 899,000 workers qualify for midterm access, and a ton of 93 billion will be paid out. However, the minister says that the savers will have to wait for another 2 months as the ministry develops regulations that will guide the midterm access.
And with hopes for midterm, we now shift to issues of security in terms of disarmament in the Karamoja sub-region, where the Joint Security Forces have killed 85, convicted and sentenced 386 warriors in the ongoing disarmament operation in Karamoja sub-region, according to the latest Joint Internal Security Report. The operation Usalama Kwa Wote was launched on the 17th of July last year to restore stability in the versatile Karamoja sub-region by dealing with cattle rustlers. Our reporter Nasiru Wama broke down the security inroad of UPDF, police, anti-stock unit and the local defense unit to neutralize warriors and cattle rustlers at the center of causing insecurity in this region.
In other news, we look into the Kakwenzi case. Now, following the delay by security operatives to unconditionally produce and release Kakwenzi Rukilabasheja in courts of law, has the Makindye Grade 1 Magistrates Court presided over by Magistrate Irene Nambatya. Kakwenzi lawyers have filed another application in High Court Civil Division asking for his release. Now, according to Luyimbazi Nalukola, one of the accused lawyers, Kakwenzi has a right to a fair hearing. Now, Kakwenzi, a prominent novelist, according to CID spokesperson Charles Twine, was arrested on the 28th of December 2021 from his home in Chisasi by a joint security operative. And if produced in court, he is to face charges related to offensive communication, which he allegedly committed through his Twitter handle at Kakwenzi Ruchira. It is alleged that Kakwenzi, through his Twitter handle, offended the person of the President Yoweri Museveni and also Commander Land Forces Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba.
Crossing to our international stories and looking at our first story, that will be North Korea says Wednesday test was hypersonic missile. North Korea has said that the Wednesday missile test was hypersonic weapon and that it successfully hit its targets. Now, the launch detected Japan and South Korea were the first since October and the second of the hypersonic missile, despite the United Nations ban on such activity. Now, unlike ballistic missiles that fly into outer space before returning on steep trajectories, hypersonic weapons fly towards targets at low altitudes and can achieve more than 5 times the speed of sound. Now, the successive success in the test launches, hypersonic missile sector have strategic significance in that they have hastened the task to modernize the strategies of armed forces and state that this will be helpful for them to conquer. Now, still about international stories, Australia comes out to cancel top tennis players' visa there. It says tennis star Novak has had his visa to enter Australia dramatically revoked on his arrival in Melbourne. Now, the world number one was held in the city's airport for several hours before border forces announced he had not met the entry rules and would be deported. Now, he has reportedly now have been taken to government detention hotel pending his departure on an outbound flight. The developments came amid a backlash over a vaccine exemption that Dovik had said had not gotten, and this did qualify him to play in the Australian Open. Now, he has not spoken about this vaccination status, but last year he said he was opposed to the vaccination. Well, coming back to Africa, now banana-made brew kills 11 in Rwanda. There, 11 people have died in Rwanda's southeastern district of Bugesera since Christmas Day after drinking a local brew made from bananas. The Rwanda's Investigation Bureau has come out to confirm this, and 4 others are reported to be in hospital having treatment. Now, high levels of methanol found in the stomachs of victims who drank the brew could be linked to death, according to the Rwanda's Food and Drugs Authority.
Weather and nature. Now, what to watch in 2022 are critical moments and issues for climate diplomacy. Now, with the next round of climate talks planned on the African continent, 2022 offers a chance to put climate justice and solidarity at the forefront of international efforts. Now, the Egyptian host of the COP27 Climate Summit has said that it will spotlight resilience and adaptation to climate impacts African nations top on the climate priority. Now, developing countries are demanding additional finance and policy support for those on climate front lines to cope with deadly droughts, heat waves, floods and storms. Now, delivery of vaccines to the world's poorest will be necessary to get grip on COVID-19 globally and free up headspace for dealing with the climate crisis. Now, the publication on 2 major scientific reports by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change will help to also shape strategies for adaptation and mitigation. Now, from the EU's plans for carbon border tax to raising scrutiny on the net zero plans, equity considerations are the essential thread running through the policy debate. Now, COP27 climate talks are due to take place in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, that is on the 7th to 18th of November 2022. While the Red Sea beach resort is one of the wealthiest corners of the continent, an African summit can give voice to millions for whom a drought or storm makes the difference between dignity and desperation.
Following up on some of these stories, I'll be able to hit our social medias. That is on Twitter. You can catch us on, that is UBC, hashtag UBCGMU, and of course WhatsApp. We share with you a number. You can always get feedback to us and share with us also what are your true sense about various topics of the day. But also you can catch us. We streaming live on YouTube in case you don't have time to sit on your TV, but in case you're moving or wherever, or not personally in the country. But of course also we come with something that will help boost your immunity, and that is what Robert is holding right now.
Well, these are products from Hallelujah Reflexology. That is Hallelujah turmeric drink, and of course the ginger tea. These drinks are very relevant for your body because they boost your immune system. And above all, Felix has just read a story of a local blue that has killed 11 people, others are injured. Very regrettable, very unfortunate. That is in Rwanda. But these have been certified by the Uganda National Bureau of Standards and have the Q mark here. So meaning they are very safe for your consumption. Just find them at any nearest store or retail shop at just 1,500 and you can boost your immune system. That is my advice to you this morning.
Well, of course, as we do conclude this particular minute of the hour as we head into 7 o'clock hour, just a quick one for both of my colleagues. And I was thinking about when we talked about the story of the teachers. Mollen, if you were to be a teacher, what subjects would you be teaching?
If I were to be a teacher, what subjects would I be? By the way, I've ever taught.
Okay.
I remember after my A-level, I was performing well. I was taking sciences. So two schools actually called me up to teach. And I don't know whether it's okay to mention the names, but I did teach in two schools, and I was teaching math. For A-level, I was teaching pure math, S5, and then I was teaching chemistry in S1 and S2. So I would go for those subjects.
Robert, I can guess what he'll be teaching. But I would want to hear what he has to be teaching.
Actually,
oh!
Well, Felix, I've never been a teacher before.
Really?
Yes.
Teach biology with this whole hallelujah thing.
You are teaching in primary or second?
Primary.
I knew.
Primary, and I also
SST?
did nursery teaching as well. Even throughout, yes, nursery teaching as well. Throughout lockdown, I've had a number of, I don't know how many there are, friends to my son that come around.
And you teach them?
And when the teacher leaves, I help them, I teach here and there. So I think
I don't believe you, Robert.
No, on weekends. So my place is very interesting. I have a son that welcomes almost everybody.
Okay. What
So they
subjects
gather.
would you be teaching?
But if I'm teaching in, that is primary, I would teach
SST.
Felix. It's me to answer.
Yeah, let him be.
Robert, what would you be
Go
teaching?
for it. I feel like he's about to mention English.
Robert, what would you be teaching?
I'll be teaching, that is mathematics. I'll be teaching mathematics, yes.
Oh.
Then I'll also teach, that is social studies, because yes, I really love that.
I've never seen a teacher in primary who teaches math and social studies.
Definitely.
It is a combination
It's
of math and science.
No, those teachers, you asked me.
Yeah.
I had to make my choice, yes, because for them
I
you
knew
find
about-
Favorite.
SST, English, science, and mathematics. But for me, if I were,
Clearly, Robert won't teach, and he has never told. Because anyway, for
I keep on teaching.
let Robert keep in the nursery department, because there you can teach everything.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
I teach sounds. I was teaching them sounds, teaching them handwriting.
Okay.
So-
what the sound that a cat makes is called?
These teachers need to review these kids' work, the kids that have been taught by
honestly,
Robert.
I know it.
You have to review
By the
their
way,
work.
when they, and when they
could have
took their
misled
books for
them.
marking, when they perform excellently. So
You have
that-
misled them, Robert.
No. The
Thing is
teachers, the teachers.
Anyway, Teacher Bob.
Very interesting.
For some of the parents whose kids are friends of Uncle Bob's son, the one who welcomes
Yeah.
everyone, you need to check their work. Because Uncle Bob teaches math and SST
And SST.
in
And I also
primary.
teach sounds and handwriting. Plus shading, by the way. Don't forget.
You're listening. But anyway, let us take a break, have a song for the day, but we expect you guys to be to share your feedback through our WhatsApp numbers and of course our social media handles. But we'll be sharing with you our poll question when we come back in the 7 o'clock hour.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Was brought to you by.
Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Come with me.
So get your GoCoder and GoTV value for 25,000 shillings to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Something to look forward to.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season. And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it.
It's the 2021 Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations. Live, free, and exclusive to your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Transact and win money after money with Airtel Money. 1.5 billion shillings in cash prizes up for grabs.
My name is Mulage Swahod from Tororo District. I'm so happy that I'm a lucky winner of the 10 million Uganda shillings man after money promotion with Airtel. I can't believe it. It's just like I've been reborn. It's the best day of my life.
The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless. It's the 2021 Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations. Live, free, and exclusive to your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Transact and win money after money with Airtel Money. 1.5 billion shillings in cash prizes up for grabs. The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Raising voices.
I feel happy when my mother spends time with me. I hope all mothers will like my mother. I want my mother to reach out to all mothers. She knows how important it is to be a good mother. I promise to help my mother inspire other mothers to change.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
It's the 2021 Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations. Live, free, and exclusive to your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome to the hour of 7, and thank you so much for keeping it with us here on UBC TV. It is our news real time, and here we pick a topic and of course dive more into it, analyze it, and see how best this can create value in terms of development and way forward for our country. Now, we all know that begin the 10th, that is just Monday next week, a few days from now, schools or education institutions in Uganda will be fully reopened, except for a few districts where boarding schools will report on different dates. That is some of the classes, that is Kampala, Wakiso, and Mpigi, where I expect a staggered way. That is only for the boarding students. Now, to ensure that we avoid stampede, apart from what happened in terms of those, remember when you closed school, what was in the bus park, what was in the taxi park, some students had even to spend nights in the taxi park. This time, one of the measures taken is that staggered reopening of schools in these districts. But also, government has come up to temporarily, and I want to be specific, use the word temporarily, that is lift curfew to allow the smooth return of students to school. And the Minister for Works and Transport, General Katumba Wamala Edward, yesterday announced this. And we'll begin with this as we look at more regarding the opening of schools. Very interesting. For over 2 years, we've had curfew in this country. And we know the times when movements end, and of course, totally, there's respect for curfew. This time around, when we talk about temporarily, meaning curfew is not lifted permanently. But for this week, that is next week, where we are seeing students going back to school, it has been eased to allow smooth movement. Felix, this is aimed at ensuring that the issues of congestion and safe return are factored in very well. Let's begin with the element of lifting curfew. Most of the times we have issues where these are abused.
For me, I think, Robert, that wouldn't be my biggest fear. And I know as a fact, in fact, it is one of those things that is the evidence that for some people who normally come out to to lash out at government, this is the evidence that most of the things they come out with are well thought things. I had one of the guys in opposition talking about accusing government, they don't do research, they don't what. And clearly, when you look at how the deliberations government makes towards, and mostly even in COVID, they're engaging. And I believe when you see such moves by the ministry in partnership with the Prime Minister's office, you take note that their engagements with different stakeholders, and probably there's been a lot of learning from the previous.
I agree with the point of learning from the previous.
Even with engagements with stakeholders, and I'll tell you, and I can give you an example. When you look at issues of students, for example, do you know how many meetings the ministry has had with schools? Both
Quite
private and there are many. Even to the point that you remember the last time when schools wanted to lie about the cases of COVID and what, all this is put into, is factored into play. But in this particular one, when you see that we are moving to what to call something called accommodate the challenges that come with the times, for me, I think it brings out the true picture of preparedness. You have seen the effect of curfew, let me tell you, over the last 2 years, will shock you. In terms of, it has the goods, absolutely. It also has the extremes. And some of the extremes are accidents, if you noticed. Secondly, it's limited activity, almost relevant activity, that people have. Let's say, Robert, if you drive, I don't know if you've drove on the road of Mukono, Ginger Road lately.
I usually around
If you're driving, let's say, and you know how many schools are on that road. Now imagine if all of those people are being taken back between Saturday and Sunday. You get the point. It means some people will be missing out. Other people may, because that road, I don't know, I think there's a junction that is being worked on somewhere.
Some will drop the students in time, but maybe be caught up with curfew as they are coming back. Yes, because schools usually receive students up to around 6.
You can imagine the mayhem.
So this is, I think, more calculated.
When you go to Masaka Road, go to Wakiso,
go to
that side of Entebbe Road. At least Entebbe Road, they are lucky, they have different
They
routes.
have the
express. They have other panyas through Wankurukuku to, I think, Rueza, somewhere. So all these, but when you see the ministry coming out to lift, I think it is in good spirit. And however, there was also a calendar that followed by the Ministry of Education on when different classes will report
back. Yes.
You get it?
The boarding sections will
exactly. Now, that is super thought from government. That's a matter of fact. And for me, they have hit like the highest mark. You see collaboration of different entities of government, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Health, and the Ministry of Transport and Works. So for me, I think that was a good one. However, the challenge is this. That is to cater for the people who are going to school, say, permanently, or I wouldn't say permanently, but who stay in school. What is the plan for people who commute? Is there any plan that government is thinking about? And I'll tell you why. When you come to schools, the number of day schools, and let's look about townships or major cities like Wakiso, Kampala, and the other cities, the number of students who commute, let's say in Kampala, could be more than the number of people who are in, because of the kind of education, the kind of schools. For example, you come to UPE schools, they don't have this section of boarding. They are normally
the schools.
Yes. Now, what is the plan in terms of safety, in terms of time, management? Because if you're saying students are going to start school next week, but curfew will be lifted after 2 weeks or something. However, the minister came out to say temporarily we shall lift that week. So, how do you handle that? Have we handled this, the timetables of schools? Because no one is talking about that. Students are going to be studying up to what time? Have we? I don't know you.
Because if you have to go by the ordinary time, where some schools end at 5, but there are those that even have preps where some day school students
go finalists. They normally have those things of preps. They will stay to do it, and the fact that they are catching up with time, lost time. I think we need to address that. For me, I found a lacuna in that about the school time vis-a-vis these day students. Kids are leaving school at, even if they were leaving at 4, curfew is at 7. And remember, borders stop working at what time? Those who, you get it? And taxis. So I think there's a challenge. Either we remove this curfew thing as long as students start. That is in my opinion. Because again, it's a mismatch with the day scholars and also the teachers. Because you are looking at the parents and dropping off of the, but how about the teachers who teach? What time do they leave class to go back home? Well, unless they're also added on essential workers, these two are.
We just hope. But also one of the things we want to believe is we want to speak to the security personnel in this country that many of the laws, there's discretion for you and your sense of judgment. If this is a student who comes, they're in uniform, they have their ID, and they're clearly coming from school, some of these things, you don't need the law. You need,
but at what time?
You need to really understand. A student comes at around 8 and says, yes, I'm coming from school. You know? Why then would you hold that student? I think it will be something.
Imagining a scenario where students are being imprisoned.
Yeah, that would be very... A teacher identifies themselves and says, I'm a teacher, I'm from teaching. It's just unless you're telling us, a student at 1, that is explanatory, definitely. A teacher at 1, that is something you have to expect. But some sense of judgment is needed there. And also knowing that by 24th, the economy will be fully open, nightlife will be open, except for the borders. Mollen, now let's go to another critical area here, which is vaccination. And it has been made mandatory for teachers. Yesterday, the Minister of State for Primary Education, that is Moriko Kaduchu, came out clearly and said, a teacher who is not vaccinated will be allowed in school for them to carry out this after school opening, are you vaccinated, record a few things, but not in class. And if you spend 2 weeks without appearing in class, that is teaching, it will be considered absconding from duty. So you will face the disciplinary committee. If they find out that the issue is you not being vaccinated, then that will lead to indefinite suspension because you have chosen not to teach, you try somewhere else. Looking at statistics today from the Ministry of Education and Sports, they were telling us, they indicate that 73% of teachers have at least gotten their first dose. 32% of teachers, that's both primary, that's both private and also public schools, have gotten both doses. Now we are looking at 550,000 teachers in this country. And when you look at these percentages, it's not that very impressive. If you only have 73% having the first dose, and those that have completed would consider maybe safe, are only standing at 32% out of the 550,000 teachers. How practical is this? Monday is not verified.
Well, Robert, if you ask me, I think we've had more talks on vaccination. And for now, if we still have to convince teachers to go for vaccination, then we are failing. And earlier, we were putting teachers on this high pedestal of their career. If you are a teacher who loves this career and you want to continue teaching, we don't have to tell you right now that please go for vaccination. This is something that, you know, teachers should have taken on. And you look at 73% of the teachers who have gotten the first dose. That means those are the ones that have given out the will to get vaccinated, meaning that they will even get the second dose. But how about that percentage that is remaining? So even if we made this mandatory, there are people who have had this mindset about vaccination that they are not even willing to take the chance. So I think also what Ministry of Education or the Ministry of Health is doing, if you do not get vaccinated and you lose your job because of that, this is on you. It's not on anyone, because ministry has done its part and you're supposed to get vaccinated. Now, this is no longer on the safety of you and your family. This is also going to be on the safety of the kids that you're going to be teaching and the entire staff. So I think it's even a no given. It's not a question of the school even asking you to get vaccinated or ministry. It's up to you as a teacher to make sure that you have been vaccinated. And you look into the fact that teachers have really been given priority in this country when it came to vaccination.
Because when
from
we remember
the very get-go.
the first target of 4.8, among the first categories there, teachers were among the first categories.
Yeah, and
then
the
we had the
president
health
did
workers.
insist on this. The president did emphasize on the fact that teachers should be able to get vaccinated, and they extended the vaccination centers to where teachers can easily access to, even to schools. So if you find out that there are teachers right now who are lagging behind in terms of vaccination, I think that is something that is just personal to them. And I think it should even be mandatory, for sure, for you to be able to teach students, for you to be able to access school, you should be vaccinated. And if they say it's mandatory, for me, I'll go for that. This is something that is necessary. But you also look at, the whole issue with the pandemic right now. We were just talking about curfew. And you look at the fact that people still think they need security to help them do something like that. Like in the morning when we were coming to work, I don't know whether Ugandans sometimes get it wrong. People actually thought curfew started after, was lifted after the presidential speech. So we found people were stuck on the road. They came driving and they thought curfew was already lifted. I'm like, come on. So I don't know whether they get directives wrong or people just don't want to listen and they want to deal with security to be able to be put in the right direction. I don't think that is something that we should even be talking about right now. This is something that they need to do. You know you're due for school. Why don't you go and get vaccinated?
And it is a noble profession, as usual. So, well, let's first also take a look at our poll question. Then Felix will give us a glimpse of legal implication of this. Now that you have rights in Uganda, to the latter, and lawyers who can wake up any day and challenge anything. Let's first take a look at our poll question.
And of course, our poll question is, how can city authorities make inclusive policies for city management? How can city authorities make inclusive policies for city management? And of course, this springs from what KCCA did come out to say in relation to vendors chasing everyone off the street and all these things. So we need you guys to share with us your thoughts about what and how can city authorities make inclusive laws and of course policies that do take up everyone who uses the city, away from segregating who they call vendors and lawful ABCDs and all that. So be able to share that on our WhatsApp number 0709 60 25 92, and of course our Twitter handle is UBCGMU, that is hashtag UBCGMU.
Well, Felix, still on this issue of teachers, we know it could be extended to other professions as well. But let's first look at the legal implication of it, because government is saying we are not coercing you, we are not forcing you. It is your right actually not to be vaccinated. However, you will not access some of these public places.
Well, of course, you will have very many cases that will come up. That one I can tell you for sure. Just that people have not gotten the courage yet. But as time goes on, you'll see very many cases. And the reason is simple. You know, it's a double-edged sword, if I may call it. When you talk about a pandemic like the coronavirus, the evidence of the effect of such a pandemic is the defense of any authority. That's why when you start talking about, but why are you forcing people to say, about what has been happening? Don't you see? Yeah. So the only defense is the evidence of the effect. However, even in heated up warfare, there are laws. Even in war, even in...
There are rules of engagement.
In fact, there's a full convention, the Geneva Convention, I think of 1950-something. 59. There was. They were putting together was that you can't shoot someone who has surrendered, even if they just shot your colleague. If they surrender, you know, people, all these laws are there.
The international humanitarian law as well.
Absolutely. So even amidst the toughest times of the pandemic, laws don't cease to exist. And guess what? Rights are laws. That's why all that can be done is government to put up its restrictions. Now, it is the restrictions that will cough you out. They will say, we're not firing you, but you can't work here if you're not
vaccinated.
That is internal policy. Because it is covered under human resource manuals, I'm assuming. So it's not necessarily that it's not a direct implication, or it's not directly abusing the law or the right, it is indirectly infringing on your right. But you're also a contributor. There's a case, I remember it was Stella versus Makerere, Stella something versus Makerere University. In that case, a young lady was a Seventh-day Adventist and was challenging that why would the university put exams on Saturday when some of us, it contravenes our... And I love the ruling of the justice in that case. The justice simply said that the opinionated approach of examination per every institution cannot be curtailed by religious beliefs. And the beauty of the same is that any applicant who comes in such a university is also availed with the various other universities, okay, in the absence of monopoly. And that is it was a very good ruling if you ever interest yourself to read about that case. So it works directly in this scenario. That, and I have seen some of my colleagues at the university, by the way, were asked to leave. And they went and vaccinated and brought their vaccination cards and were still asked to go back and serve the punishment. I think they're supposed to return, I think 10th, this month or something. My good colleagues. But the university asked them to. They didn't teach the whole of the last semester since November. What am I saying? It may have legal implications. But as I've always told you, laws don't apply in the vacuum. Even the legal officers or judicial officers are alive to the facts. I read your story of one of the most, if not the only most famous lately tennis player who was stopped, who was deported in Australia.
For not being vaccinated?
Yes. He wouldn't disclose his proper vaccination status and was deported. But so he's #1 in the world in tennis. Again, what am I saying? Laws are not absent of reality. Even judicial officers will judge such a matter before them with a live conscience of what is happening.
The situation. Now here, this brings me, Mollen, to look at availability of vaccines. As His Excellency, when he was addressing the nation, that was on the 31st, he mentioned that we are targeting 22 million Ugandans to get vaccinated. And these include the 4.8 vulnerable people, and then those above 50 years, very at risk, stand at 3.3 million, who should be actually getting booster doses in case they complete their, that is 2 doses. If it's for a 2-dose vaccine, 1 dose and 6 months have passed, they should be getting their booster doses. But His Excellency assured us that we are expecting, that is 11.4 million doses of that is the double jab. Then we are expecting, that is we are expecting 20.7 million of the double vaccines. Those are vaccines where you get 2 doses, the AstraZeneca and others. Then we're expecting 12 million, that is of Johnson & Johnson. For that you get a single dose. So let's look at availability. Much as we are compelling teachers, are these vaccines readily available? How best can we step up the vaccination exercise?
Robert, I think the question right now is not whether the vaccines are readily available, because I have not had cases in this country where we are complaining of vaccines. In fact, we have security people telling Ugandans, please go for vaccination. So I don't think we've not gotten there to a level where we are complaining about whether we have enough vaccines. And even when
there's having vaccines in stock, but these vaccines being, for example, a teacher in Kabong, do we have them at every health center 3s? Come to Kampala in some areas. I know of places.
The issue is these vaccines have actually been put across.
No, but
you look at the fact that even when they're there, the issue is not whether they can access, because no hospital wants to keep these vaccines, and they get, you remember we had cases in the past where we almost got these vaccines expire, and I think that was on the AstraZeneca. And they were encouraging, we had to put up drives to encourage people to go for vaccination. So I don't think that right now we have a problem of missing out on vaccines. These vaccines are out there. It's just that people are not going for them. And even with now, 11.4 million doses that we're expecting, you will find that these are going to be a top-up on what we already have. Now, we did have recently cases in Kasese, actually, where people were taking on this and they wanted to make it mandatory for their community. But still, they were not complaining of whether the vaccines are there. These vaccines are out there. It's just that people have not taken the initiative to actually go and seek to know which centers are there. And I think it's the relaxity in people. You look at when you have a group of 4.8 million vulnerable people that are targeted. These are, you look at the elderly. Also, these ones need to be convinced to go and take that jab. Yeah, they need to be convinced to go and take that jab. But again, this is out there for you. So I think more of what needs to be done is maybe increase on the drive to make sure that people are aware of where exactly can they get vaccinated. And I know that this has been a challenge. There are people who want to get vaccinated, but they don't know where to actually get the jab. Even in Kampala here, you will ask someone where are they vaccinating from. They don't know. Unless, some
of the centers we had in Machindi, I was taking a group, encouraging them to get vaccinated, but the vaccines were not there, so we had to come to KCCA. I had to tell them, let's go to KCCA. And I want to comment, KCCA, vaccines are there, and they got vaccinated. So
people just need to be aware that this is the right places where you can get the vaccines. Otherwise, we are going to just keep talking and encouraging people to go, but they don't even know where.
Finally, on this, Felix, we've had also an element of people who are choosing not to get vaccinated, but forge certificates. As we wind up, I need your comment on this.
Well, I think that is perspectively foolery. It is perspective foolery, and anyone who does such a thing would be qualified to be from the cluster of idiocy, because I mean, you're simply fooling yourself. This
is bravery for the guys at NASA, because they are even taking pride in the fact that we've forged papers from universities. How about a vaccination card? I saw them boasting about
one
something
time
like this.
I was at the airport, and they brought a gentleman out of line because of a yellow fever card. Now, the money he lost, the time he lost, and was a colleague. Because of a very simple process. You see, Africans, we have conclusively appreciated adamancy as a way of life. Someone will say, vaccination agenda kutta bagala kumalawo bafirika, and then they will go drunk driving, which is more of a risk. You get the point? Now, the people in Rwanda who died of banana brew, was that vaccination? Oli yesi wa magengere. If you know what that means. Naye naatyo mugema. Tebajja kungema. Naye nanywa walajjo mumala masepiki g'ekyalo. But tebajja kukola ki?
Kumugema.
Now, these are the people we are talking about. The people who, someone will go and sleep around with, and with due respect, the people fear, don't fear AIDS, but they fear vaccination. Now, I think it's just about mental, that we have grown up in a rotten society, and the practices of rottenness have eaten us up. You forge a vaccination card. Who are you being vaccinated for? If they vaccinate you, Robert, so do I benefit? No, do I benefit?
Very hopeful.
If you die,
you're endangering yourself and your family and those around you.
It's as simple as that.
And even taking the risk of having a fake paper.
Third world countries, let me tell you, and I've told this to my students and colleagues. How many times have you been to hospital? Some of you are always on cannulas. You even know what they inject in you. Ugendo fa msawo nasuze ubi take a fa hey mpeweddemo. You never ask what they have injected in you. You can't even read the biological term. Now you want to bring your rugezigezi, thinking that I think, and this is the effect of third world, and I think, but even first world, I've seen people in US, all these things. But let me say this.
Finally, in the interest of time, Felix, we have to end.
Some decisions are painful, but sometimes it's the way to go. It's the order of the world. What do you do? What do you do?
Someone was asking, well,
let's come to an end of this, but very interesting. We urge you, please go and get vaccinated. Do not cheat yourself by not getting vaccinated, and do not be.
Oh, but also, Robert,
very
people from the ministry are giving out people fake certificates.
Oh,
I think that's...
Well, that is something... That is something for the ministry to the ministry to come and explain. You guys are the ones giving people these IDs, not NASA, by the way. These certificates are given, but because NASA doesn't go into the system, people have certificates forged and they're in the system.
Yes.
Well,
actually, you'll be surprised.
We hope
that you may be even having wrong statistics. You people of ministry, because you may find, and I'm being honest. Lastly, an official can try that. You can go and see if you can get yourself a certificate when you're not vaccinated. People are getting...
We call for serious investigation into this, but also very interestingly is, do not deceive yourself that you have a certificate where you're not vaccinated. It will just simply catch up with you. The vaccination is for your benefit, not anybody else. Well, let's look at some of the replies coming in from our poll question. Once again, just a reminder of what the poll question is this morning. How can city authorities make inclusive policies for city management? And we have one that is, this is Omar from Bale School. He's talking about, okay, promoting vaccination, but also many says, he says, for the vendors, it's long overdue. Let them go to markets and leave the city center. The city center is the face of the country with all sorts of guests from different parts of the country. He talks about having policies that are all inclusive, most of the issue of vendors. When we return, we'll be looking at what is in the print media. Keep it with us.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Transact and win money after money with Airtel Money. 1.5 billion shillings in cash prizes up for grabs. The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless. It's the 2021 Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations. Live, free, and exclusive to your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Keeping you informed with what is happening, it is time we look at some of the stories in the dailies this morning. We have the Daily Monitor, the New Vision, the Daily Nation, and we'll be giving you a glimpse of what is in these papers. Beginning with the New Vision this morning, Amongi, we shall expedite NSSF midterm access. That is the Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development. Then healthcare, local diabetes drug passes safety test. Good news for us as a country. Very big headline there, NRM cadres want Parliament to pick president. Proposed MPs to elect the president. Minister inspects taxi park And we look at school reopening, government to deploy police to regulate transport, and salary enhancement, government earmarks 400 billion for health workers and scientists. Also still in the new vision, they give you more of integrated syllabus, what you need to know for senior 1, senior 2, chemistry as well.
Now in the Daily Monitor, fake COVID cards sold on market, and they give you photos of some of how the fake look and how the genuine look, and well, that's for you to deal with. Government revises transport fares for operators, and COVID-19 in Uganda, they give you how the new cases are, the cumulative rate, and of course death rate and all that. Now, how I take care of my BMW X5. And IGG officers held at gunpoint in land commission offices. Okay. 2,000 paramedics to fight COVID in schools there, but also NSSF midterm access starts in 2 months, and a photo of Ben Chiwanuka here from the archives. But also today in history, Nelson Mandela's son dies. And Congress certifies George W. Bush as winner of 2000 elections.
Back to the new vision this morning, we look at my 6-year-old child is too, that is clingy, and the parents there. We have the Nyonyintono giving you more on the parenting column. We also, my wife wants to send our child to boarding school. So these are latest, and the experts respond. Looking at today in history, it was on this very 6th of January, the year 2003, when Nzikuru made history. That is Dorcas Nzikuru, a threat. But also the same date, by the year 2003, Kenyan President Kibaki starts UPE. We can't also skip, that is the COVID-19 tracker for Uganda, where new confirmed cases 1,766. Positivity rate now stands at 19.7%, and 1 death was reported. Total deaths so far in Uganda stands at 3,313 people who have succumbed to COVID-19.
Now the Daily Monitor Sports, and AFCON for local chances, and Gume aims to open several doors in the USA. But of course, return of Eriksson, second chance. Denmark midfielder Christian Eriksen says his goal is to play at the World Cup there. Now Shikrane's sister hope to set Accra light, and KCCA toil to regain UPL log leadership. Now English Premier League, stop weekly PCR tests for all clubs, and local coaches national cups.
Wow, the New Vision Sports brings you more regarding, that is the African Nations Cup, and we look at cricket cranes land in Guyana, but also a gift to his parents. That is the cool gift that Joshua Chiptegei gave to his parents. That is a house there, and the parents, the mother, the father are on the page of the sports in the New Vision there for you.
Well, of course, also in the Daily Nation, we'll be looking at OKA, we are united and strong. One Kenya Alliance principles also deny signing secret deals with DP Ruto or ODM leader Odinga. But also, former Prime Minister is expected to name the other member of the team. Today, Raila names team to lead State House bid. And as Ruto allies failed in House, they are now boost for DP Ruto as he bags Namwambi there. But of course, also, far from that, the many stories that did come in about Kenya's best and worst communicators in 2021. Now, as I said earlier, we will be having AFCON here on UBC, and do not forget to catch us live. Now, of course, for some of you who will be waiting for the same on DSTV, that will not be possible, because you know that it does contravene. DSTV owns it has channels that will be showing the game, and of course that is also on Star Times. We will be having the same channels that will be showing the game, so you will be only able to catch AFCON live on UBC through your free to air. And I repeat that. So free to air, make sure you have those free to air decoders, or you have the antennas. Some TVs just need antennas, so you had better prepare yourself for that. You won't be able to have you watch the game through DSTV or Star Times, but you'll be able to watch AFCON on UBC through free to air. Don't forget, we'll be here giving you a big team of sports. Will be here headed by the likes of Ruben Chibirango, the likes of Otai, Fifi
Pink,
Fiona. I love that lady and I love her commentary when it comes to sports. And of course, a bigger team will be here. That is John Barnes Center, also the likes of Michael Wandaga and Mwesi. They'll be here, both on air and of course behind, to give you some of the highlights and what to expect. But do not have to bother to go to Chibanda because some of the games will be at night. Most of the games actually will be at night. We'll be having back-to-back games. So get yourself free to air decoder or get that antenna and set the channels. You'll be able to watch AFCON games on UBC Magic and of course Star TV. Yes, for some of you, our sister stations, you have Magic HD. Is it Magic 1?
Magic 1.
Magic 1 and also Star TV and UBC. So be able to watch these matches live on, and of course also we have the commentary live on
all our experts on the radios will be giving us on all our radio stations.
So don't you have to worry. We have catered for that, and come AFCON, be awaiting to see your stars, the likes of Mo Salah, likes of Aubameyang and many others, Sadio Mane and many others. But for now, let's take a break. Mollen will be coming in to give us, actually, Mollen is here, teacher for mathematics and biology. Is going to be telling us how to dissect the roads to get to the heart of this beautiful city. But just a quick one, Mollen, did you ever cut a rat?
I did.
Do you remember that experiment we used to do? I think it was in S6.
Yeah, I did actually. I did, because one of the things you start with human anatomy, the rat is the closest thing. So yeah, I did that.
And the generic conceptual relation of human beings and a rat will shock you that it almost actually crosses 80%. So that's why we had to.
Planning to import rats that we are going to be using. Remember how expensive they were?
Genetically.
And those ones are actually edible. They are on menus in restaurants.
Laboratory. If you go. There are recipes. So for some of you,
let's go to traffic. Let's go for traffic.
Let me give you. Let me give you a recipe for the road right now before we go ahead with the human anatomy and relationship with the rats. But yes, we want to start it off from Ginger Highway right now, which seems a bit clear actually for this morning. So that is a good road. If you're wondering whether you can actually hit that road, it is quite clear, at least for most of the areas around Ginger Road is quite clear. Now continuing into at least those headed for Kampala. Now the side leaving Kampala to Ginger is actually clear in terms of traffic, but just a few kilometers as you head towards King George Highway, that is where you start to get a little bit of traffic that is also clearing. It's not too much in that orange color. That means cars are moving, so that can't be something that will delay you a lot across that road. Now Ginger Road joining into Kampala Road, you look at the fact that that is also quite clear this morning. Not a lot of traffic on Kampala Road there. That is one you shouldn't be afraid to take this morning. Now also over to that road as you head towards Parliamentary Avenue, the road that branches off Parliamentary Avenue, it's also quite clear, but down Kampala Road away from that, the vehicles headed into town are actually starting to get traffic right there, but it's also not too much. The vehicles are moving now. Those also are headed for Ginger through Kampala Road. It's quite clear, no traffic as for now. Now you also look at the places where it now starts to get a little bit of traffic as you head towards City Square. There's a little bit of traffic, but then that clears, and I think that has also a lot to do with the roads that are joining into Kampala Road. As you have vehicles joining into the main road, that brings in a little bit of traffic, but other than that, that road seems to be quite clear. You look at Kampala Road also still towards City Square there, that is also clear for the people leaving town, but still throughout that junction, you look at that one joining from Entebbe Road here. So just right after Entebbe Road, as you head more towards Kampala Road, that's where you start to see a little bit of traffic. Also for the vehicles joining here from Entebbe Road towards Kampala Road, that brings in a little bit of traffic. But this is not too much, so that will be quite moving. Now we do have much of the traffic that is there between Speak Road, that junction as you join into Speak Road towards Kampala Road. That is where we have a little bit of traffic. It seems like it's quite, you know, quite much there, but at least it's a small distance, so you can deal with that and then move on. But now Kampala Road seems to start getting a little bit of that traffic as you head towards Bombo Road. Now that is also one, if you can have shortcuts, also taking into, maybe if you could head up on the upper roads, you look at Uganda Road in that area, which is quite clear for this morning. Now you also look at that road that is headed for the City Square as you join towards Uganda Road. The Shimoni Road is also quite clear in terms of traffic this morning. We do have, at least if you go through Lumumba Avenue as well, that road is quite clear. So at least those are shortcuts if you want to avoid Kampala Road, which now starts to get traffic as you head, you know, connecting towards Bombo Road. But you also look at Buganda Road quite in front as, you know, that area of the City Square as you head towards Kampala, the CPS Kampala. So that road after for Buganda Road is quite having a little bit of traffic, but at least the good news is that it's not as much as the one on Kampala Road, so you can take your risk with the Buganda Road. And also the good news is that it clears at least a little bit in front, so it's not like you can miss out if you avoid Kampala Road right there. But you also come back to the roundabout here, joining in from Speak Road and Kampala Road, away from the square. That is quite clear. You look at the roads joining in from Lumumba Avenue, that looks to be quite clear right now in terms of traffic. And also there's one coming from the Nakasero Road. Now those ones coming from Bombo Road, the upper side of Kampala, there's a bit of traffic, but again that clears as you head into the roundabout. It's quite moving, so that means you look at good roads there. And then you look at as you join towards the Taman Avenue and also Yusuf Rule Road, that seems to be quite clear for this morning. If you want to also avoid much of the traffic, you can use Nile Avenue, which seems to be quite clear in terms of traffic for this morning. Well, but that is it in terms of traffic. Now we want to look into the updates of what we have in terms of weather. We did talk about earlier what is expected for the upcoming month of in terms of weather. You look at the fact that we have had mostly dry conditions in the forecast for the next coming months. That is also taking in January and March, over much of the country. We're already starting to see dry conditions, but at least what is being on the advisory, even from the prediction center, is that this is a time you actually need to start making your plans for water harvesting. There's going to be a lot of stress on water in terms of agriculture, and even for the likelihood of outbreaks. The Ministry of Health is already partnering with the Ugandan Meteorological Authority to make sure that they have those strategic plans for the likelihood of some of the diseases that usually do come up as we look at dry seasons, and that will be going up to March. So this is something to brace ourselves for. But for this morning, we want to take a look at what is happening across the country. You do have much of the country actually this morning starting off with quite clear skies. We have mostly sunny conditions across the country, a little bit of clouds towards the Karamoja region, but also that is not enough to bring in the rains. So it is still quite a sunny morning across that area. Now, except what is different for the Karamoja region is that this area has been quite dry. So seeing that we do have some of the clouds that are starting to develop is actually something that could help cool down the temperatures, but still that area is still quite hot. Now you look at areas across northern Uganda still dealing with sunny conditions. Now much of the country today is waking up to sunny skies, and I do expect that to actually go out throughout the day. But what we have is that we're starting to see some of the systems across the northern parts of the continent also starting to pick up in terms of wet weather. Now we've had most areas across the northern half of Africa with mostly dry conditions due to some of the high pressure centers where you see the open skies across, Sudan. Those areas are usually associated with high pressure centers, and when those are there, they are just the ones contributing to the dryness that we have across much of the area. But now we start to see some of the clouds that are moving in across the Sahel region, Chad, Nigeria. Now that kind of system, the cloudy system there, is what will help to weaken some of these high pressure centers that have been keeping most of these dry conditions. That means that we could be looking at least a pickup in wet weather activities in terms of some areas across the Karamoja region or even northern Uganda, and that is likely to also move at the same pace with some of the systems coming in from Congo. So we could have also western Uganda pick up in terms of wet weather conditions. But I don't think that will be happening today morning because the forecast is indicating mostly sunny conditions across much of the country. And also when you look at the forecast coming in from the Uganda National Meteorological Authority, it is still indicating mostly sunny conditions for this morning across much of the country. Now, not much sunshine is forecast across that eastern part of central. You look at areas like Luwero, Wobulenzi, you look at Nakasongola, Nakaseke, that area could remain equally sunny for the rest of the morning, but it looks like elsewhere we might have still intervals of cloudy conditions going on for most of the areas across the country. Now, later in the afternoon, we might have a little bit of development in terms of wet weather activities, especially for areas around the lake. Now, those usually benefit from Lake Victoria. That could enhance a little bit of rainy conditions, but also that will be over several places, especially the ones really close to Lake Victoria, and also a little bit towards Midwestern Uganda. You've got areas like Masindi, Hoima, also still being close to Lake Albert. That also helps enhancing some of the wet activities there, but the rest of the country might remain equally with intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. Well, that is it in terms of weather this morning, and later we'll be having Good Morning Uganda agenda. Robert will be here to take you through that, and also we do have Good Morning Uganda extra with Jagenda Semakola. Now, don't forget, you can keep the conversation going. We are on Twitter, that is at UBC TV Uganda. We're also streaming live on YouTube, that is UBC Television Uganda. Now, my name is Mollen Kenyena. I want to wish you a good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Come with me.
So get your GoCoder and GoTV value for 25,000 shillings to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Something to look forward to.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season. And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it.
It's the 2021 Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations. Live, free, and exclusive to your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Transact and win money after money with Airtel Money. 1.5 billion shillings in cash prizes up for grabs.
My name is Mulage Swahod from Tororo District. I'm so happy that I'm a lucky winner of the 10 million Uganda shillings man after money promotion with Airtel. I can't believe it. It's just like I've been reborn. It's the best day of my life.
The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Come with me.
So get your GoCoder and GoTV value for 25,000 shillings to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Something to look forward to.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season. And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the